Well, hello, and thanks for watching another episode of News at the Pews, where you can count on unapologetic 2A advocacy. Gun rights are human rights, no matter what local cops think. And don't get it twisted, local cops are the biggest threat to your gun rights, not some hypothetical future blue helmets going door to door. As insanely suicidal and ineffective as that would be, it's also hypothetical. What's not hypothetical are local departments confiscating guns right now. Under unconstitutional laws. So today we're gonna do something I've been looking forward to for some time now. Lame gun bust review. This is where we take a look at some of the lamest gun busts that loser cops were willing to publicly brag about. You're gonna notice the NYPD is a frequent flyer at this game, but anyone can play. First up is pretty vanilla. It looks like a run-of-the-mill Ruger compact automatic, but I wanted to point out the rock-solid RS articulated in this post. They spotted a known gang member, folks. I mean, maybe they did have reasonably articulable suspicion, but they didn't, articulate it. And did you notice it's another one of those ghost guns because it has the serial number removed? Next up, how about some Canuckistani oppression, eh? The Mounties in Saskatchewan confiscated a paintball marker and a cap and ball front stuffer. I'm not confident that muzzleloader has bodies on it, but I suppose it is possible. Probably not so many bodies on that paintball marker, though. Next up is something that looks a lot more like what you would expect cops to confiscate. At first glance, we've got a revolver and some rimless cartridges. Maybe it's a Smith & Wesson model 547 and 9mm? But the 547 has a thicker barrel and bobbed hammer. The real tell is the ejector rod. Based on a lazy LLM-assisted search, Smith & Wesson stopped making that style ejector rod in 1947, making this possibly a 6-shot 38 caliber M&P shown with 5 9mm cartridges, which honestly checks out for a confiscated gun. But hey, it would be impossible to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors. And today's video is sponsored by Gideon Optics. You folks probably know about how rapidly Gideon has grown to meet consumer needs with affordable optics, but did you know about their optic trade-in program, which allows you to get from 50 up to 100 bones towards your new sight in exchange for any working optic? That would go a long way towards putting a brand new Pebble enclosed in your mitts. Now, YouTube would banish me to the shadow realm if I told you the price, but I can tell you that a brand new Pebble enclosed costs less than a year and a half of YouTube Premium, which is a pretty sweet deal. The Pebble enclosed is available with a red or green 3MOA dot, has a side-mounted battery tray, shake awake, and of course Gideon's lifetime warranty. But I think the coolest part is that it was designed to mount securely to the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 without slide cuts or permanent modifications. A dovetail insert locks into the rear sight cut with no gunsmithing. So check out Gideon Optics, take a look at the Pebble enclosed, and let me know in the comments which old optic you'd trade in to get your hands on one. Use code PEWS at checkout for 10% off and free shipping. One thing that's almost universal in these picks is the mix and match ammo. If you're lucky, there's enough to fill the magazine. And I don't want to sound suspicious, but why is it these lame gun busts almost never seem to mention any actual crime? It's always just, hey, we caught somebody minding their own business while having this constitutionally protected object. Ooh, this one's impressive. Check out these boys peering over the podium on their tippy toes. That's a very big gun they found, and they look very proud of it. Biggie's gonna be pissed though. He needs that so he could kick in the door waving the... wait, that's a deuce, isn't it? Yes, indeed, these heroes took a .22 Magnum Taurus tracker off the streets, clearly favored by thugs for its stopping power and ease of concealment. When you combine the fact that the tracker holds 9 rounds with the fact that it's pictured with 3 rounds each of .22 Mag and .22 LR, times the fact that rimfire is a generally less reliable ignition method, and divided by the fact that rimfire gets even less reliable when exposed to rough handling and humidity, go out on a limb here and say you've got about 4 to 6 business weeks before you get shot if some fool pulls that heater on you. Whoa, we got some badasses here posing like tough guys with a Ruger Mark II. It's a good thing they bagged up the round that was in the chamber and wrote that diligently on the bag. Again, no mention at all of any actual crime involved, just a dude had a thing and they're proud of sending him off to the struggle cuddle cage for having it. Now this one is a little different. It comes out of Florida, where people don't normally get arrested for just having a gun unless they did something else. Now, you folks know I'm opposed to prohibited possessor laws because as soon as someone is out of prison, they have access to weapons, whether you like it or not. But with that out of the way, Florida is not nearly as oppressive as New York. That doesn't keep the gun confiscation from being just as lame, even if in this case, it was a gun turn-in. They still can't resist to pad their count with air guns, thinking nobody's gonna notice. And this little guy right here,
oh, that little guy, I wouldn't worry about that little guy,
is a German B-1S bird bomb launcher. And then we've got a couple of very broken shotguns, but otherwise the rest of the guns are at least plausibly useful for criminals, even if they were just turned in by a widow who doesn't know the cops are screwing her out of a couple of $100s. Now this classic from Boston is what I expect to see in a gun bust. Mixed ammo, tape all over the grip, a slide that's rougher than a California freeway, and some kind of custom belt loop hanger thing attached to it. They even claim an actual crime, so I'll award 1 point, but immediately deduct it because the crime in question is just firearm related. And of course, where would we be without lame gun busts from the land of Oz? My favorite thing about Down Under gun busts is how they prove gun control is totally impotent. 2 homemade single-shot pistols, 4 homemade silencers, and 2 home-built Martini Henry conversions prove, what are you gonna do about it? But the lamest, cringiest possible bust goes to the NYPD, because where other departments may sneak in non-guns to inflate their count, only the NYPD is willing to brag about confiscating a gel blaster. Now, if you didn't know, gel blasters are kind of like airsoft, but even gentler because they fire those squishy aqua ball things your girlfriend was probably hustling in an MLM back in the 2010s. It takes a special kind of cop to get up every morning, look himself in the mirror and say, damn it, you get out there and be a complete f***ing retard. Of course, the best part about lame gun busts are the comments. These 2 were my favorites, but I'm confident you folks will outdo even Mad Mike down below. Well friends, rounds complete on 2, but before I get to your moment of completion, I'd like to remind you this is a one-man show. I research the stories, write the script, record the show, edit the video, and occasionally remember to sleep and eat. So if you think gun rights are important and you want to help me continue advocating for the 2A, please consider buying some merch or donating directly at the links down there in the doobly-doo and of course right here. After all, this program was made possible by contributions from Bill Crocker, E. Senior, Ozark Pilgrim, ODA 564, Squirted Glizzies, and viewers like you. I love you.